it's important that we lay out the facts that Harris-Biden, they've allowed millions of people to come into this country. They've allowed crime to sweep the nation. You have 12, 13, 14-year-old girls that are targets of sexual predators. As borders are, she's allowed our nation to be invaded.
The DHS is now calling on the U.S. government to take urgent action to ensure the safety of unaccompanied migrant children in the United States.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement has lost track of thousands of unaccompanied migrant children.
State and federal officials joined forces to help rescue more than 100 survivors.
Every president I've ever worked for took some steps to secure the border. President Biden is the first president in history of this nation that I know of who came in office and unsecured the border.
There's too many criminals, terrorists, drug dealings, drugs, everything coming across the southern border doesn't belong in America. You want to come into America, use the front door. Just like if you come into my house, you're not crawling in a window or in through my back door. You're using the front door, knocking on the door and saying, may we come in?
We handed this administration the most secure border in my lifetime. And within months, we went from the most secure border to historic illegal immigration, numbers we've never seen before. And it's not because it's seasonal. It's not because of climate change. It's not because of Trump. This is by design.
Most of the Border Patrol agents are handcuffed to policy. They want to do what should be the normal procedure is, if you're coming in illegally, put them in the van, take them back to the border and release them back. We just got to get tougher on policy on the border. It's not going to happen under this administration.
1.9 million gotaways. That statement alone should convince anybody on either side, 1.9 million gotaways, the border is not secure.
I could tell you that if you line up 10 kids coming across without adult supervision, I will tell you 7 or 8 of them are going to be female, under the age of 13.
440,000 unaccompanied children enter the country through the service of the cartels. Someone needs to explain to me how that's humane.
But nobody's watching United States kids getting trafficked into Mexico. Nobody's watching that, which is another billion-dollar operation.
My stepfather, he was introduced to me while I was still in Mexico. The abuse started pretty much right away. In my mind, it started within 6 months of moving into the United States.
Tijuana, where Mexico meets California. Situated at the world's busiest land border, it's a hub for human trafficking. Here, women are trafficked from across the world and forced into modern-day slavery.
I serve as district attorney for San Diego County. We serve 3.3 million of our residents. We have everything from the border of Mexico, one of the busiest borders there is, and to the border of Riverside and everything in between. What gangs thrive on, their whole business is about terror, manipulation for profit. So they sell drugs, they sell guns, but they discovered that selling young people, young girls especially, is a reusable product. You can resell it time after time. At $810 million annually in San Diego County, it places it as the second largest criminal industry.
Most people think that San Diego has been noticed for trafficking because it's a border town, because it's San Diego, Tijuana. But of 450 survivors that we have interviews with, 80% are American children.
It's really pretty simple. It's about people who want to buy sex and they just devalue human life. And there are traffickers that are ready to sell this product to them. The buyers like to pretend that they think this is consensual, that this minor or adult chooses this life. They must know when they look at a 15-year-old that is like their daughter's age that this can't be a choice.
Hi, baby.
When we as a society put out there that prostitution is a profession instead of an oppression, that it's a choice instead of an enslavement, these are all messages that we need to completely destroy and debunk. The border issue is about vulnerabilities. When the traffickers know that, that vulnerability then becomes part of their business.
These children are a captive victim population with no access to law enforcement or knowledge of their rights. They are extorted, abused, neglected. For nearly a decade, unaccompanied children have been suffering in the shadows. And I have to confess, I knew nothing about their suffering until 2021, when I volunteered to help the Biden administration with the crisis at the southern border. I discovered that children are being trafficked through a sophisticated network that begins with recruiting in home country, smuggling to the US border, and ends when ORR delivers a child to a sponsor. Some sponsors are criminals and traffickers and members of transnational criminal organizations. Some sponsors view children as commodities and assets to be used for earning income. And that is why I blew the whistle in 2021.
I was 12 and the grooming process started. He took me to Toys R Us. From that point, it was definitely intentional, trying to get me to see him as a person that I could trust.
And he actually lived right next door to a whorehouse, which I didn't know what that meant at the time. And so every day when I would walk home from school, I would pass it. And like the first time that I was approached by a pimp, I was also 11. And he was like, oh, someday, like, I'll have you here.
I met this guy. I thought he was my boyfriend for 5 months. I thought he was my boyfriend. I lived with him. 5 months later, he was like, you're gonna make me some money. I'm like, excuse me? What do you mean? You're gonna make me some money? No, I'm not going to. And he put a gun in my back.